Hey everybody, welcome to Lessons from the Cockpit. Today we're going to talk about imposter syndrome and how to handle it, and I'm going to answer the question, does it ever go away? Let's get started. Welcome everybody, I'm Belinda Sandor. Thank you for coming to Lessons from the Cockpit. For those of you who are just joining us for the first time, I'm the founder of the VA Connection, where I coach and mentor new and established and aspiring virtual assistants to get their businesses off the ground. And I work with my students in my free online community, my courses and coaching programs. And today I'm your host of Lessons for the Cockpit. It's my weekly live stream show that airs every Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. And I share tactical and practical advice for your virtual assistant business in each episode. And if you've been a VA for a while or you're just starting out, these tips are for you. So I'd love to hear where you're coming in from. We are streaming on multiple Facebook platforms. We are on LinkedIn, we are on Twitter, we are on YouTube. And if you're watching us on YouTube, go ahead and click the subscribe button and ring the bell so you'll be notified every day. And when we're done here, check out my latest video. It's I posted it last night. It has to do with planning for 2024. Overnight, it got 1.6 thousand views, and that was pretty exciting for me to wake up to. So definitely don't miss out on that. Okay. Good. So today we're going to be talking about imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is something that literally haunts so many people. And so we are going to definitely talk about all the different aspects of it. I'm going to talk you through a solution and we'll get started on that in just a minute. But before we dive in, I want to introduce myself a little bit further. And please put any questions you have, any comments in the chat. Let me know where you're coming in from. I'd love to be able to say hello. All right. Good. All right. So this is me and my daughter, Emily. This was in 2010. And this was when I was just starting my VA business. My life had definitely taken an unexpected turn. And I was not where I wanted to be. I was a few months shy of my 50th birthday. And, I thought at this point in my life, for my whole life, that by the time I hit 50, I would have had it figured out, right? I would own a home. I would have a job. I would have been started to save for retirement. I would be happily married, working at a job that I liked, all the things. And I have to tell you, that's not where I was. It was kind of like global opposite, which was surprising because when your life takes a turn like that, it doesn't happen overnight. Like you just don't wake up one day and say, I'm going to get a divorce. You've been unhappy for a while by the time you reach that point. And with what I didn't mention is that I also had a massive amount of debt and back taxes to pay. And that creeps up. I didn't wake up one day and say, I'm not going to pay my taxes for 7 years. The first year it happens, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have the money for this. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to work harder. I'm going to put my head down. And before you know it, another year has gone by, and every day you're saying to yourself, okay, I'm going to handle this. I'm going to handle this. This feels really bad. I'm going to handle this. And then, everything kind of, for me anyway, just kind of blew up, it blew up all at once. And even though that was really intense, it was probably the best thing because, when you have a little problem here and a little problem there, it's easy to say, oh yeah, but, and not really get yourself into action and change your life. But when it all blows up at once, it's like, okay, no ignoring this. So, I know some of you have told me you resonate with my story and, a lot of what happened to me, you're either in the midst of, or, in the recovering from it. And so I just want you to know that really you can turn yourself around at any age. So I just had to figure out, how was I going to make money? I wanted to work from home. I wanted to be there for Emily. I didn't want to have to ask someone for time off when she was sick. if any of you who have had a job, when you have to do that, it's sort of like this, it looked to me like this walk of shame, like, here we go. And God forbid, like you have your child has, something, a chronic illness, or something chronic, or parents, or, all those things where really, you have to be able to work around them. So I returned to my roots, and my roots were, I went to secretarial school when I was 20. I quit college, went to secretarial school, and I loved being a secretary. I loved it. I loved being a helper. I loved getting involved in the middle of everything. Admins usually know about what's going on in the company way before the middle managers do. So that was kind of fun too, to be on the inside track. And so I just started telling everybody that I knew. I didn't even know what to call it. I didn't call it a virtual assistant back then because I never even heard of that. But I told people I was doing admin work. And one day at the school bus stop, one of the dads was there in the morning, and he said, what's up, what's new? And I told him about this business, and I had no idea. The last time I checked in with him about what he was doing, he was the CEO of something. It's like this telecenter or something. And what I found out was he had opened his own business a few months before, and and he was drowning in administrative duty, things that he couldn't do. It was driving his wife insane because she had a job and they had 3 kids and a dog named Otis. It was this cute boxer dog. And anyway, my point is that he hired me, and I started to do things that I already knew how to do, commonsensical things like pay his bills, organize his email. I downloaded, well, you didn't download back then. I installed software on computers, shipped them to his employees, helped him with the payroll, all of these things that just require a little figuring out, but are not difficult. And the thing that's interesting to me is that I thought about this not that long ago. If I had known he opened a business, I probably wouldn't have told him, because I would have thought that he thought that I wanted him to hire me. And so that was too uncomfortable for me. So because I had no idea that he had his own business and he had started a company, I told him. Do you see how crazy that is? So I'm just as nuts as you, right? The difference is I figured out how to walk through it instead of be stuck by it, okay? So this is my second client I met at the buffet line of a wedding reception. I didn't have a business card. I didn't have a website. We were talking. He said, what are you up to? So I have this client now, right? So I say to him, I have a client and I have this business and I'm still trying to figure it out, but this is what I'm hoping will happen. He gave me his business card and I connected with him on LinkedIn. And I got to tell you, that connection, pushing that button, again, my whole thing in my life was, they're going to think I want something. They're going to think I want something. And so I almost didn't connect with him, but he became a client. And he contacted me on LinkedIn, and it's a longer story, but what I want you to take away from this is a couple of things. You can turn it around no matter where you are, at any age, and please stop prospecting for clients. You don't have to go try to figure out where they are. You just have to tell everybody you know in a systematic way. And that's something I talk about all the time, right? All the time. So there's a ton of information about this on the blog, thevaconnection.com. Just click on the blog and dive in. All right, dive in and get started. Okay. So fast forward, I leaned in, I changed my mindset. Mindset was huge. I recently read that the percentage of the success depends on 20% strategies, 80% mindset. So at the VA Connection, we spend a ton of time on mindset. It's critical. I stepped out of my comfort zone and I built a successful business as what I became, a virtual assistant. And the first year I was in business, I made $70,000. And for the next 10 years, I made $100,000 as a virtual assistant, working alone, just me, in this chair I'm sitting in right now. And the systems that I developed and the methods I used to build my own business are what I teach at the VA Connection. And I would love to teach you too. So really fast forward. So here's a different picture. So this is what my life looks like now. This was our wedding. We got married 2 years ago. I got married to the man I've been looking for, like literally my whole life, at 60. And who would have thought that would be possible, right? It's kind of crazy. So my finances are handled. no more minimum payments, just scraping by. I have a thriving business that I built one day at a time. And I was there for Emily when she grew up, and I can breathe again. I could absolutely breathe again. And I would love to know, who here is ready for that too, right? Because we can get started. All right, so let's say hello, hello, hello. So let's see. So Michelle is here from Frisco, and Tammy's here from Minnesota. Melanie's here from France. Mary is here. Tammy is here from Florida. Karen is here from Phoenix. We have someone here from North Carolina. Christiane is here from, you have to say this word slow, Saskatchewan. That's a mouthful. Hello, Frederica from Amsterdam. We have someone from Fresno, and Jane is here from England, and Carol is here from Montana. Okay, we have some more people from Texas and Jersey and Connecticut. All right, and Maine. So welcome. We have 2 people from Maine. Yes, very exciting. All right, so let's dive into this topic of imposter syndrome, because this is a big one. All right, so imposter syndrome is that little terrible voice in your head telling you you're not good enough, right? Telling you don't have what it takes and that you're never going to amount to anything. All right, and it comes out of the blue when you least expect it, and it's never pleasant. So tell me, how many of you suffer from imposter syndrome? So the first thing I want you to know, it's normal. Every person has it, period. Okay, so if you are breathing, you have it. I have it. Everybody has it. So the mistake that we make is we try to get rid of it, and you can't. The other thing that we do that's a mistake is we use it to let us be stopped, right? So I've heard many VAs say to me, or people who want to be VAs, I have imposter syndrome. I just can't do that. It's like a medical diagnosis. So if you want to have success, if you want to change your life, you can't succumb to imposter syndrome, right? Because it's not a medical diagnosis. It's something that we all have, and it's something that we all need to deal with. And I'm going to teach you how to do that today. But really, if you think you're going to make it go away and there's something wrong with you because you have it, you are not only hurting yourself with that belief, but you are wasting time, right? You're just wasting time. So it's not an excuse. It's something that everybody has, and our job is to learn how to deal with it. All right. So are you guys on the same page with me there? Because that is really critical, because everything I'm going to say after this will mean nothing if you don't believe that. Okay. Now, sometimes the voice in your head is yours. Sometimes it's the voice of someone else who we believe is judging us or has openly judged us in the past. Okay. It could be a teacher, a parent, a friend, a spouse. And the voice, this is interesting. My imposter syndrome jumped up this weekend. What I realized was the imposter syndrome that I was having, because it's not just always about not good enough. It can also be about not getting what you want, or, a lot of different doubts and fears. Imposter syndrome is sort of this big umbrella. But the thing about it is that sometimes it's a conversation. It's a conversation with someone where they're like, ba, 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 and you're like, ba, 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 and you are literally in an argument in your head with someone who's not there, likely on a topic that's either you've blown up to be this ridiculous proportion, which is what I did this weekend, or or it's like something that is in your past that you can't let go of. I remember one time, this was a little while ago, but I was drying my hair in the bathroom and having a conversation in my head that was not nice with my ex-husband, who I have not even laid eyes on in like 5 years. Like, why would I do that? Like, that is so in the past. And when I caught myself, I thought, wait a minute, what are you doing? Like, get that out of your head. That is resolved, and then you really have to just shift out of it. And we're going to talk about how to do that. All right. So this voice is creative, It's thoughtful, and it leaves no stone unturned when it comes to telling us what it's thinking, right? There's no edit feature on this. So it also has no timeline, right? So in the case of this conversation I'm having with my ex-husband, or, my mother, or, something that happened literally in fourth grade, can come up for me. And so there's no timeline. It can just come out of the blue from years and years and years ago, right? So everything is fair game. So no wonder we feel so victimized by it. It's like, it's like we're a sitting duck, in a lot of ways when it comes to this. And it usually shows up when we want to expand ourselves, right? When we want to bust a move, whether it's, starting a business, taking a course, moving, buying a house, buying a car, getting promoted, anything. It could even show up when you're trying to plant a garden for the first time, like, I'll never be able to do this. What am I doing? Whenever I do something creative, when I first start out, I do the same thing. So I'm going to tell you guys about this new cool thing that I just rolled out last night. I don't have it printed in color, but it's called Introvert Networking Secrets for Virtual Assistants. This is a 32-page guide all about how to network when you're an introvert and you're a virtual assistant. It's packed. But do you know what I thought when I first started writing this? This is going to be terrible. You're not going to be able to organize your thoughts. People are going to find all kinds of mistakes. All the things, right? So, I gave it to an editor and a proofreader, and I read it 700 times. And then last night I finally said, we're done. Okay, we're done. And I put it out there, and you all will read it. I hope you'll get a lot out of it. And you're going to tell me if there's a typo. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to fix it. NBD, right? No big deal, because you have to think about your intention. My intention is to help introverted people who want to be VAs that need a network, right? And so I think it's very rare that someone would criticize me. So why am I criticizing me? That's imposter syndrome, right? So it comes up all the time. It comes up all the time. But what you need to do is have a conversation with yourself when it happens. So it's not about pushing away. The harder you push, the bigger it gets. All right. So what you have to do is acknowledge it and engage with it. But here's how you engage. All right. So here's the conversation I have when it kicks in. All right. So the first thing I notice is the negativity. All right. I notice the negativity, and most of the time, just like you, I indulge in it. Okay. But then I realize what's happening. So what you want to do, this is a really important step, is that you want to know what it feels like in your body when it happens. For me, it's sort of this sinking feeling on my shoulders. My stomach gets like a certain feeling. So you want to know what that feeling is, so that when you feel that way in your body, you say to yourself, oh, let's look around and see what's happening. Okay, so that's step one, is acknowledging it. Imposter syndrome's here. Okay, ding dong, it's at the door. What am I going to do? All right. So when you realize what is happening, you can look objectively at the voices and what they're telling you. All right. So I separate myself from the emotions the voice is trying to evoke and look at the message itself. Now, this takes practice. This is not like you're going to listen to me for 5 minutes right here, and then you're going to be like, I've got it handled. It took me years and years of practice, but I just did it one day at a time, right? I did it one day at a time. And so you really want to look at the message itself. All right. And I say this to my students all the time, but it's almost like you want to watch it like television, like I physically move myself away and I look at it like, oh, wow, that's going on. That's what's going on, and it's good to do that when people are acting wacky too. Other people wonder what's going on over there, because what the heck, that's like a big reaction that someone's having. All right. So then what you want to do is you want to listen to the craziness. Okay. You want to listen to it, and you want to say to yourself, is this true? Is this actually true? And what I've noticed is that about 100% of the time, it's not. It's not. It's just a fear. Here's another way that it shows up. And I know that you guys do this because you've told me, what if? What if I get a client and I disappoint them? What if I get a client and I tell them the wrong number for my hourly rate, and then I realize I could charge a lot more, and then my life is over. I've ruined my business, right? What if I have a typo on my website? What if I don't have a website? What if I tell my mother about my business and she gives me a hard time? What if, do you see what I'm saying? That's just all imposter syndrome. It's just imposter syndrome. It's everywhere, right? It's everywhere. And so what I want you to do is to learn how to replace the voice in your head one thought at a time with a more useful message, okay? You can't go from, I'll never be able to do this, to saying to yourself, I've got this, no problem. It doesn't work that way, because you're not going to believe it. You're going to say, you are full of it. Like you can't. All right. So there's a process here. So what you want to do is this is how it might sound. Okay. It might sound like this. All right. Wow. I'm just scared. I'm just scared. I've been scared before, right? I've been scared before. It's not a big deal. I'm just scared. I can do new things. I've done so many new things, right? I can do hard things. I have what it takes, right? And what's a step I can take right now? What's a step I can take right now? So in the case of, let's say, I'm trying to think of an example that everyone can relate to. All right, let's talk about sending out an announcement telling everyone you know you're in business. Okay, really big deal, right? Because now you're exposed. And there's like the whole time leading up to doing that will be like a crisis of imposter syndrome. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have any clients. What skills do I have? Blah, 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 blah. Okay. So the way that you could soothe yourself in that situation is to say, okay, I've got to get my list together, my email list, so I can tell everybody I know. Set a goal for yourself. Like, I'm going to do 5 today. I'm going to do 5, and I'm going to ask people who I know are cool with it. Right. So you ask, your 5 best friends who are like, yay. And then the next day, maybe you ask 10, or you ask 7, or you ask 5 again, right? And then what happens is, in the doing of it, you'll start to be able to see it's not that big of a deal. Now, if you try to figure it out and think your way through it before you even start, you'll never start, because no one's ever ready to do something scary, right? You're not. I mean, even as a kid jumping off the diving board, the high board, into the pool, I was never ready for that. I just knew I wanted to do it, and you should see me. I was like this, and I'm holding my nose, and, but I jumped off the board. So, and I jumped straight down, right? I never dove off any high dive, right? So, but the thing is that as I did it over and over, in the course of a Saturday afternoon, I relaxed. And I wasn't so tense, and I was able to do it. Again, I never jumped in head first or anything, but that's okay. You don't need to jump in head first. You just need to get in the water. Okay. So you really want to replace the voice. So then what's going to happen is, your people are going to start to be excited for you. And every once in a while, there'll be a Debbie Downer, and you just say to yourself, wow, what's going on with them? Right. Or you just move along and you build your list, right? When you have enough people on the list, and you've really pushed through all the people on Facebook and LinkedIn and all the places, then you'll send out this announcement. And the thing is that, the danger of starting a business is not having everybody notice. The danger is having nobody notice, right? So we want to make it as big a splash as we can, but it's one step at a time, right? So you send the announcement, and it's like, okay. So this is how the thoughts can go. I'm sending an announcement to everyone I know. I think I should wait till tomorrow. This is a really bad idea. People are going to know. Now they're going to expect me to be different. I'm going to have to be successful. What if I am successful? What's going to happen then? Well, if I'm successful, people are going to ask me for money. And if they ask me for money, I hardly have enough. I can't have to. Do you see how you escalate like that? I mean, please, I'm a champion escalator. Okay. Instead, I'm sending my announcement out. This feels really scary. I'm worried about what people are going to say, but you know what? I'm clear that this is the path for me. I've decided this is for me. My friend so-and-so, is supporting me. Their hand is on my back. You know, I'm just going to do it. It's sort of like the man in the reception line, when I connected with him on LinkedIn, that felt really scary to me. Like, what, you know, I would connect with anyone right now. Like, sure, you bet, no problem. You know, but the thing is, that's because I'm confident now, because I have a bajillion connections, and I understand that they're not going to take anything from me that I don't want to give, and that I'm safe, and LinkedIn is fine, and, you know, all the things. And so this whole concept of telling people about your business, if you don't do it, you can't make money, you can't be successful. Yet we let what people think and what we think in our own head in the form of imposter syndrome stop us, you know, before we even get started. So you have to learn how to soothe yourself, you know, like, it's okay. I'm going to tell people, they're going to, you know, they'll be excited for me. Some people will ignore me. That's because they didn't even see it. It's going to be fine. You know, other ways that it can play out, that maybe you can relate to, is sometimes, you know, I stress out about money. You know, money is just one of those things that's very emotional, and something can happen. Like, I find out we need some $1,200 thing done to the car, and it doesn't matter what's in my bank account. I instantly freak out inside, like, oh no, I'm not going to be okay. And then what I say to myself is, you don't have to get the car fixed. You can drive the other car. If you decide to drive the car and get it fixed, then, you know, let's go look at the bank. Let's see what's going on. Do we need to put it on a credit card, or can we pay, or can we do both? And then I literally walk around my house and I say, we have plenty of food. All the bills are paid. That, you know, the this, the that. I have beautiful clothes to wear. Emily's good. You know, she's taking horseback riding lessons. They're paid for. Like, I start to take an inventory of all the things that are okay, so I can calm myself down. And now, instead of the sky is falling and I'm going to die and there's never going to be enough, I'm like, okay, the car's broken. All right, so should we sell the car? Should we fix the car? Do we park the car for a while until we figure out what's going on? Or should we just get it fixed? Like, do you see how that's completely different? Like, because I took the emotion out, I calmed myself down. And so that's what you have to do when it comes to imposter syndrome, okay? And taking action is going to be the thing that slows it down, taking the action. Because the thing is that it's the action makes it quiet, because the action is proving it. Like, oh, okay, I can do that. I can do that. Okay. Yeah. So some of the comments, yeah, imposter syndrome, Tammy says, can stop you in your tracks if you let it. Yeah. And Michelle says it can be a slippery slope. So let me tell you something else that I say, just in case you're not sure I'm crazy already. But what I'll say to myself when it starts, and it's been coming up because Greg and I we're looking at houses. And so there's a lot of like emotional stuff, like the finances. Does he like the house? Do I like the house? Do we like where it is? I mean, it was like it's like a minefield. Okay. And so what I have to say to myself, and when we first started this process and I started to do all the sky is falling in my head, I had to say to myself, nope, we're not doing that. We're not doing that right now. We have other things to do. We have things that are important, and we are not doing that. Because having that conversation with the mortgage broker in your head right now, or with, you know, Greg, or with whomever, is not going to change it. You know, it's not going to change it. And what I want you to do instead is make the best decision you can in the moment, and then see what happens, and then decide what to do next. Okay. You don't have to have all the steps figured out. So this was a lot on imposter syndrome. I hope this was useful. So the big takeaways are, it never goes away. Don't try to force it down. Learn how to talk to it. Understand if it's real, what's being said, and then calm yourself down. You know, look at other places in your life that are working, you know, and take the emotion out of it, and just calm yourself down. And once you do that, you can see it for what it is. It's a broken car. Nobody died, right? And you'll figure it out. And who knows, you know, you could get a new client today that would give you the money to pay for the car if you just calm down enough to keep moving and not have the whole day be about the broken car, and send out your email newsletter or your announcement, or go to a networking event, right? In your other car. All right. So everybody, thank you for coming. Again, I'm Belinda Sandor. I'm the founder of the VA Connection. Thank you for coming to Lessons from the Cockpit and exploring this topic with me. It's important, and it's something that we all struggle with, and I'm really grateful that you're here. So thank you, and I'll see you next week, same time. Bye for now.